Welcome to the Current Conversations podcast. I'm your host, Savannah Hugdahl with Gloucester County's Community Engagement and Public Information Department. Today, we're here with Kelly Hannon from Fredericksburg VDOT. Hey, Kelly, how you doing?
Savannah, it's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, it's so good to have you. Can you start by telling us a little bit about yourself? Like, how long have you been with the Virginia Department of Transportation?
I recently celebrated 13 years here at VDOT in the Fredericksburg District, which, even though we have Fredericksburg in our name, it encompasses 14 counties, including all of the Middle Peninsula and Gloucester. So, been never a dull day if you are someone who loves transportation, travel, safety. There's so many interesting facets to our work at VDOT. I've enjoyed every day.
Well, I'm sure. I mean, even if you're not really a traveler, you use the roads to get to work, to go shopping, to see your family, like something everybody interacts with every day.
It does. It really does. It affects everyone here in Virginia. So it's been a pleasure.
Do you post any of those funny things on Twitter that VDOT is so known for?
I don't. We have a committee of employees that work together to write the messages that go on our overhead message boards. There are a lot of guidelines regards to what we can say. We try to be as creative as we can with our safety messaging. Keeping in mind that the goal is to get people to change their behavior to drive a little bit more safely. So while information about crashes and incidents usually have to take precedence on those signs, when we can make kind of a fun reference to a safety message, we do that.
Yeah, if y'all don't follow VDOT already, you should, because their thing is like traffic information and kindness. And it's just really, there's some great cat memes, lots of good traffic information there. So you hit on this a little bit, but can you kind of walk me through the VDOT Fredericksburg District and what all that entails?
So VDOT is actually, because we are a pretty big, diverse state in terms of geography, the types of different roads we have in our system, traffic patterns, and we have 9 different geographic districts. And in our area, that includes the Fredericksburg area, that's I-95 up here from kind of around Quantico Marine Corps base south of the Carolina and Hanover County line, and then we go all the way east to the Chesapeake Bay. So that's all of the northern neck, all of the Middle Peninsula. So really, even though my office is up here in Fredericksburg, very often we're out in Gloucester, Middlesex, Matthews, that region, having public meetings, taking pictures of projects. And I really do feel, of course, I'm pretty biased. I feel that we have the most beautiful district in the state. And so I really do enjoy getting down to the Hampton Roads area for our part of the district for your residents and see the projects and improvements we're making in there.
Oh, we definitely have the most beautiful part of Virginia. Like no disrespect on the mountains, but the water is just better. I know that VDOT, you've been to Gloucester recently because I think last summer y'all were working on the Guinea resurfacing project. For people who aren't maybe in the loop about this upcoming project, can you tell me a little bit about the scope of what's coming up this summer? So what's VDOT going to be working on at that Guinea Road and Route 17 intersection?
So we are starting in March, the intersection of Route 17 and Guinea Road, doing some spot improvements that we think will improve safety. Over the past 3 years, at the intersection, there have been 17 reported crashes. Unfortunately, there were no fatalities, but 7 of those crashes did involve injuries. Now, a lot of those crashes were angle crashes, where just as it sounds, 2 cars that are really traveling at an angle, maybe, for instance, 2 cars both making a left turn, you're hitting not head on, but you're hitting one another at an angle. And those types of crashes, can result in some really severe injuries. So to address that, we're making a change where we're going to be slightly widening the intersection approach, kind of moving a median over on Guinea Road so we can fit in a left turn. So when our project is finished, and will be done in July of 2024, there'll be a separate left turn lane, a separate lane to proceed straight ahead onto Hook Drive, or there'll be a right turn lane to go northbound on 17th. So right now, everyone shares that left turn and through lane. And so by putting in new traffic signal equipment, by separating out those lanes, people who are turning left road onto Route 17 southbound will have what we call a protected left turn So you'll get that green arrow, and then you can proceed without having to yield to oncoming traffic. So that should reduce angle crashes. That's what we're seeking to do with this project. And we're also making a couple of other improvements on Route 17 northbound, right by the McDonald's. We're kind of improving that right turn radius onto Guinea Road. And we'll be adding some new sidewalks with, I think, a circle ramp and a new, what we call a refuge island at that corner for pedestrians who are crossing the street, for them to kind of wait in the midst of the intersection until it's safe for them to finish crossing.
All right. So you're talking about several different roads getting improved turn lanes here. So if I'm hearing you right, if you're going towards the point on Route 17 and you want to turn left onto Guinea Road, that turn lane?
Actually, if you're on Guinea Road, we're actually
Okay.
not making any improvements really on 17 itself. Really, the improvements are going to be on Guinea Road. So we're rebuilding the median on Guinea Road, kind of moving it over a little bit, which will let us squeeze in an extra turn lane. So really, the improvement right now, all of the traffic traveling on Guinea Road towards 17, they have to, all that through traffic going straight ahead or turning left onto Route 17 towards the point, they have to share a lane. And so what we're doing is we're giving them each their own lane with this project. So when we're done, there'll be a lane to turn left, and there'll be a lane to go straight ahead onto Hook. And so by separating those out, basically, it becomes safer for traffic that's turning left from Guinea onto Route 17 southbound, because they'll have a green arrow and they'll have their own dedicated time to make that left turn. Drivers won't have to turn left.
I'm with you. I'm sorry about that. Thanks for the
Okay,
clarification.
there's a lot going on at that intersection.
So are you making any accommodations to the stoplights during construction so that we don't get big traffic backups at this pretty important intersection?
Yeah. So we will have, we're just starting in March. We're putting up signs, kind of mobilizing crews and equipment, but there will be some temporary lane reduction. So when you're on Guinea Road right now, certainly we do have the right turn lane and that shared left turn and through lane. As construction advances, we're going to actually be taking that all down to one lane approaching the Guinea Road intersection, just to give our crews space to, to move over that median, do the work they need to do for the project.
Mm-hmm.
So we do think that there will be some extended wait times on Guinea Road approaching 17. So what we're going to do is we're going to adjust the traffic signal timing. Our traffic engineering staff works alongside our construction staff and the contractors. They're going to monitor traffic, see the type of congestion and delay that might develop, and they'll be adjusting it throughout the project so we can get people off Guinea Road, out onto 17, and onto their destination. And then we are going to be adjusting traffic signal timing as well at Hannon Road. I'm anticipating people may choose to detour that way, just to kind of as another option, alternate route to the work zone. So we'll be looking at both of those intersections really carefully throughout construction.
Yeah, I definitely know people were using that when we worked on the road last summer as a way to kind of not be in the way of construction workers, get to their destination a little faster. Speaking of that, I know you guys, so we did the road resurfacing project in 23, and we've had some people ask why these projects weren't done at the same time. Can you kind of explain that from VDOT's perspective?
Of course, and that is a very natural question. Certainly for people who travel Guinea Road, there was a lot of work last summer. From June to September, we did resurfacing of 3.6 miles of Guinea Road. So essentially, more than just the standard paving, we actually went down a little deeper to kind of strengthen the road, help it withstand heavier vehicle traffic weight. So we really did a lot to kind of really improve the health of Guinea Road, make it hopefully a smoother travel service for drivers as well. But that is a maintenance project. It's kind of planned a little differently than construction. That construction project, such as this one, has a design phase, public involvement phase, utility relocation, right-of-way acquisition. So the schedules are just different because we're really taking care of the existing road that we have versus actually trying to build something new, which is what we're doing with this project. So
you had some extra steps that you hadn't been able to achieve before. It's just a different timeline, really, is what you're saying.
Yeah. And so, for that project, we were doing flagging. There was a lot of one-way traffic during the summer. But it's two different contractors accomplishing two different types of work. And it's funded through two different streams of money.
How does the funding work?
Well, so for our state maintenance budget, this is something, when we resurfaced Guinea Road last year, that was a project that we identified we needed to accomplish. Just the kind of general upkeep to our roads that we were already maintaining. Whereas for this project, it was identified as a potential safety improvement. We have, looked at our federal funds that are targeted for safety improvement through something called the Highway Safety Improvement Program. And so we were able to use those funds to accomplish this.
So it's really totally separate pots, totally separate contractors, totally separate process and timelines. So they didn't really, it wouldn't really have matched to do it at the same time.
Yeah.
Even though I'm sure that would have been delightfully convenient.
Yeah, we always, certainly we do understand from drivers, they're always so relieved when we're finished and the road's back open again. And then to see us come along on the road so soon after, it's an understandable question. But the good news is this project should be very short-lived. It will be done by July 8th is our contract.
Can you tell me the start date and then you're ending July 8th? So the start date, the end date, and then the hours you'll be working, just so people can kind of plan their commutes.
Absolutely. So we're starting on Monday, March 11th. And that is today, the day that we're talking. And we'll be working through July 8th. And most of the work will be occurring during weekdays. There is the option on this project that they really truly need that we can work finish on time. We can review that, see if there's a way that we can allow them to work without disrupting traffic flow. But, during the week on Guinea Road itself, we're avoiding those peak hour times, from 3:30 to 6 in the afternoon, and then from 6 to 9 in the morning. So that we're really avoiding that morning and afternoon commute period. And then on Route 17 northbound and southbound, we really won't need too many, really Route 17, we're going to be keeping 2 lanes open, on Route 17 itself. I think that's really important to reassure people. But again, we do have restrictions, really staying out of the way of the morning and afternoon rush hour in each direction with the weekdays. There will be on that
midday.
Okay. Yes, on weekdays.
Yeah.
Primarily weekdays construction.
Perfect. I cut you off. Is there more you wanted to say there?
Hey, one thing I forgot to mention earlier, we are going to close when construction gets further along. Right now on Route 17 southbound at the Guinea Road intersection, there are 2 left turns. Temporarily, we're going to be closing one of those 2 left turns. But as we talked about, we are going to be lengthening the time that other turn lane has to turn left. So we do know that with the reduced capacity, we need to give people more time to turn. And that's not a permanent closure. When the project is done, that second left turn lane on Route 17 southbound will be open.
That seems sensible. So even if you're all in line for one lane, if you have more time to go through it, it kind of balances out.
Exactly.
Okay. So this is a more general question. But all the time we have people reach out to ask about road and ditch repairs. If someone's trying to get VDOT to take a look at their road, how can they best bring that to y'all's attention?
Well, the great news in Virginia, we have a 24-hour customer service center at VDOT. And so if you prefer to go online, you don't necessarily want to have a conversation with anyone. That's how some people prefer to conduct business. You can go to my.vdot.virginia spelled out .gov. That's my.vdot.virginia.gov. And you really are able to enter your location. You can upload pictures. You can tell us what you'd like done, enter your contact information, and submit it to us that way. Or if you prefer, we are open 24 hours a day, and you can call our 1-800 customer service center number. That's 1-800-4-ROAD. That's 1-800-SOR-ROAD, which works out to be 800-367-7623. And you can have a conversation with one of our agents here in Virginia. We have several locations where we have agents working 24 hours a day. They'll take down your information and your work order request. And in both cases, online or by phone, it gets routed to the VDOT office that would be handling your questions, taking a look at the area that concerns you. And then typically, when someone calls something in, for instance, let's say you notice a knockdown stop sign. That's going to be classified as an emergency. That's something that needs to be handled right away. So that'll be routed to our crews as an emergency. For other items, maybe it's more of a routine maintenance issue, like, for instance, like a drainage ditch. So it's really prioritized based on maybe how much traffic the road is carrying. Is it a safety emergency? Safety emergencies are always prioritized first. If it's like a pipe fixer's hazard, maybe some vegetation has grown that might be blocking a motorist's view of oncoming traffic. Those are things we really do handle with urgency. So we do encourage people, please, don't drive the hospital 10 times. You might be the only person that actually thinks to call it in and report it. So we always appreciate having more eyes on the road. Go ahead, report it. And then our crews will kind of take a look at based on what the most urgent needs are, and then they'll steadily work their way to your request depending on where it falls in their current assessment.
So don't assume that VDOT knows there's a problem, right? There's so many roads in Virginia. Call it in if you see it. Just kind of help be a good citizen on the road, right?
Yeah. Because I always encourage people, very often it depends on the location, but our area headquarters are really our maintenance crews that are in your community. And they're the ones that are responding to the crashes. They're handling a lot of our routine maintenance items, like cleaning things facilities or installing signs. It's really may just be around a dozen people. Some are a little larger, some a little smaller. And so if you think about the population of your community, as much as we do drive around for work, especially in a neighborhood, we're maybe just not going to see it as quickly as you will if you're making, 4 or 5 trips a day. So always call it in. Don't assume your neighbor is going to do it. And we really appreciate that. That's really how we learn. Even though we try to be vigilant and we're always doing road rides ourselves, particularly on the lower volume roads, we often hear about it from motorists first.
And this is maybe a separate version of the same question, but what about if you have a private road, and how would you know you have a private road?
Well, you're always welcome to call our customer service center and ask, but typically one of the best ways you can tell, if you have a sign on your road, you have the state route sign on your road. If your road has a route number, that is maintained by the state of Virginia. Virginia actually has one of the largest state maintained road networks in the nation. Texas and North Carolina are bigger than us, but we really do maintain and operate almost 60,000 lane miles of road here in Virginia, which is really tremendous if you think about it. So many roads, are made by Virginia, but there are certainly a number of private roads, and so a road may have a street name sign, but it may not be a state route. So you do want to look for that black and white numerical sign showing your route number. But if you ever have a question, you're more than welcome to call us at the 1-800 number or go online and we can follow up with you if the road is safe.
Perfect. So that sign's a gimme, but you can always call. So last question, but if people want more information about the Guinea Road turn lane project, where can they go to kind of find updates and see what is happening?
Yeah, the VDOT website is my.vdot.virginia.gov. And it's our new website, and actually the best way really is to find anything on the website. I love the new power search box. We have a giant search box right on the homepage. Just type in Guinea Road and our project page will come up when you search under that. And we'll put any updates we have about the project there, but people can also just see if they prefer to read some of the information we talked about today, they'll find it there. And then typically I always like to promote 511virginia.org. As much as we kind of predict what's going on with the project, it is very weather dependent. So let's say maybe you're stepping out to run an errand and you want to see if we're working that day, right before you start your trip on Guinea Road or 17 or anywhere in Virginia. You can go to 511virginia.org. That's 511virginia spelled out.org. And you can really see in real time if there's a crash, if we have lane closures, if we have a work zone. You can see if the Coleman Bridge hasn't opened. And so we also have a free mobile app, 511 Virginia mobile app, if you have a smartphone device. That's another wonderful tool. I really do recommend if you have a smartphone, downloading that free mobile app for 511 Virginia. You can see our traffic cameras. It's a great way what you need to see what you might encounter on the road the day you're actually.
That's super helpful, especially if you're knowing you're going to be in a hurry and you want to make sure you take the right route the first time. You don't want to be stuck in traffic, thinking, oh, I wish I had checked Virginia 511.
We do have a number of traffic cameras on the 17 corridor. They're kind of at the point in Gloucester, so we do encourage people. You actually have really excellent coverage in the Hampton Roads area.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming out, Kelly. And I appreciate you walking us through, what's happening in Guinea Road, how to report potholes, how to get updates about traffic. So just thank you so much. And we're looking forward to brand new intersections.
You're welcome, Savannah. Thank you so much for the time. And we're always here. If anyone ever has a question or concern about the transportation system, please give us a call.